The outpost hummed like it was thinking about something important and had decided not to share. The sound pressed into the bones, a low vibration that made human teeth itch and alien nerves tighten. He knelt at the center of the chamber with his hands bound behind him, not slumped, not defiant, just comfortably resigned, as if waiting for a delayed shuttle. Across from him she stood very still, blade lifted, posture flawless, every line of her body trained for the moment where stories ended. She looked human enough to confuse a careless observer. 2 arms, 2 legs, familiar symmetry. Only the ears betrayed her, long and elegant, tapering back along her skull, catching the ambient light like polished bone. Her armor breathed faint pulses of violet light, responding to her heart rate, her focus, her certainty. She had won. She knew she had won. The universe liked simple truths like that. He glanced up at the blade and sighed softly. "You know," he said, "where I come from, it's considered rude to point sharp objects at guests." Her grip tightened. The translator implant at her jaw ticked as it parsed his tone. Calm, mild amusement, no adrenal spike. That was wrong. "You are not a guest," she said. "You are a lesson." "Ah," he nodded. "Educational execution. Those are the worst kind, always long." She ignored that. Warriors of her kind were taught not to engage unnecessary noise before the strike. Still, something about him pulled at her attention like static. He should have been sweating. Humans did that when they were afraid. Instead, he shifted his weight to ease pressure on his knees, as if settling in for a conversation. The blade rose higher. Its edge shimmered, phased half a millimeter out of normal space, eager to finish what she had started. "Last words," she said, ritual precise, voice steady. He considered this seriously, eyes tracking the ceiling where ancient alien circuitry glowed in slow, patient patterns. "All right," he said at last. "First, you're holding it wrong." Silence stretched. Even the outpost seemed to pause. Her ears flicked despite herself. "Explain," she demanded, irritation bleeding through. "Well," he continued, smiling now, "that angle works great on armored targets. I'm not armored. Also, and this is the important part, you're standing directly over a gravitational node. Not ideal footing. Happens to the best of us." She hesitated just a fraction. Enough. The hum of the outpost deepened, amused or annoyed, it was hard to tell. And for the first time since the hunt began, certainty slipped from her grasp like a blade held at the wrong angle. She did not step back, because stepping back would have meant acknowledging uncertainty, and uncertainty was the first crack in any kill. Instead, she adjusted her grip by instinct, correcting the angle without realizing she was obeying him. The blade's phase flickered, then steadied. That alone should not have mattered. It did, he noticed. Of course he did. Humans notice things when they shouldn't. "See," he said gently. "Already learning, you're doing great." "I do not learn from prey," she snapped, though her voice lacked its earlier weight. Her ears twitched again, a small betrayal she cursed internally. The outpost responded to the microshift in her balance with a faint change in gravity, just enough to make the floor feel argumentative. He leaned forward slightly, testing the invisible pull. The restraints around his wrists hummed, recalculating. "Oh good," he said. "It's moody now. These stations always are. Ancient alien tech with abandonment issues." "You sabotaged nothing," she said. "You were disarmed, tracked, captured." "Correct on all counts," he replied. "You did a fantastic job, textbook really. If there were textbooks, carved into stone, floating in space." Her jaw tightened. She had studied humans. Loud, fast, emotional. This one was infuriatingly horizontal in temperament. "Then explain your confidence," she said. "Explain why you are not afraid." He shrugged as much as the restraints allowed. "I am afraid. I just don't find it productive to advertise. Also, statistically speaking, you haven't killed me yet, which puts us in the talking phase." "There is no talking phase." "There always is," he said. "Right before someone realizes the situation is more complicated than advertised." The outpost lights pulsed once, slow and deliberate, as if agreeing. A status glyph rippled across the floor between them, unreadable to her, familiar enough to him that he smiled wider. "Ah," he murmured, "there it is." Her blade wavered just a breath. "What did you do?" she demanded. "Nothing dramatic," he said. "I just asked the station a question earlier. It likes me. I said please." Gravity shifted again, subtle but unmistakable. Her footing slid half a centimeter. Her ears flattened in irritation. Humor, she realized too late, was not just noise to humans. It was camouflage. "Relax," he added, almost kindly. "If I wanted you dead, you'd already be very annoyed about it." The blade remained raised. But now, for the first time, it was not the sharpest thing in the room. She recalculated without meaning to. Warriors of her kind did not do that mid-execution. They trusted training, muscle, ritual. Yet her eyes kept flicking to the floor glyphs as they pulsed, to the restraints humming around his wrists, to his face, irritatingly open, irritatingly unafraid. The outpost shifted again, a soft correction, as if clearing its throat. "You are manipulating the station," she said. "Manipulating is such an ugly word," he replied. "I prefer negotiating with ancient infrastructure." Her blade dipped a fraction. "You should not have access." He grinned. "You'd be amazed what you get access to when you read warning labels. Nobody else does." A soft chime echoed through the chamber. The restraints loosened by a degree so small it was insulting, but enough for him to flex his fingers. He winced theatrically. "Oh, good. Circulation. I was worried I'd lose a hand and then this would turn into a very awkward conversation." "This conversation is already unnecessary," she said, though she did not strike. Her ears angled forward now, attention sharpened despite herself. "True," he said, "but unnecessary conversations are my specialty. That and fixing things people insist are unfixable." The outpost responded with another glyph cascade, systems cross-linking, ancient logic waking reluctantly. Gravity stabilized, then shifted again, this time favoring him. He rocked slightly, experimentally, and chuckled. "Yep, still likes me." Her blade hummed louder, feeding on her frustration. "Explain," she demanded again, and hated that the word came out less like an order and more like a request. "I was sent here to repair a relay," he said. "Found your people using it as a trophy room. I adjusted a few parameters, nothing lethal. I'm not a monster." "You trespassed." "You kidnapped," he countered. "I think we're even." The restraints clicked. One lock disengaged, not fully, just enough to make a point. He lifted his hands slightly, palms open. "See, if I wanted out, I'd be gone. But then you'd still think you'd won, and that would be a shame." Her grip tightened again, but doubt crept in, cold and unwelcome. "Why stay?" she asked. He met her gaze, humor softening but not leaving. "Because you're smart, and because blades aren't the only way to change who's in control." The station hummed approvingly, and for the first time, she realized the fight had already moved somewhere far more dangerous than steel. Control did not vanish all at once. It eroded, grain by grain, like metal left too long in a quiet vacuum. She felt it slipping and hated herself for noticing. The blade still hovered between them, humming with stored violence, yet her arm ached now, not from effort but from indecision. Indecision was dangerous. Indecision got warriors remembered for the wrong reasons. The human rolled his shoulders as another restraint clicked loose. "Don't worry," he said. "If this were a trap, the lights would be red by now." Ancient systems love drama. "They favor strength," she said automatically. "They favor efficiency," he corrected. "Strength just happens when nothing smarter shows up." A ripple passed through the floor. The glyphs rearranged themselves, responding to his presence like old acquaintances recognizing a familiar annoyance. Her armor chimed a warning she had never heard before. Unsupported hierarchy. She swallowed. "You altered my weapon," she accused. "I borrowed it," he said, briefly, "left it better calibrated. You're welcome." The blade's phase faltered, then realigned, no longer fully obedient to her grip. She tried to force it, and the station responded by gently increasing gravity on her side of the chamber. Not enough to drop her, enough to make a point. He noticed and winced sympathetically. Yeah, it does that when someone ignores consent. Her ears flattened. Release control. I can't, he said lightly. It's a shared environment now, very modern. Another lock disengaged. His hands came free, though he kept them visible, open, almost polite. He stood slowly, testing the balance like a man stepping onto unfamiliar ground. The outpost adjusted instantly, supportive, encouraging. She felt suddenly very alone. You could kill me, she said, and hated how factual it sounded. True, he replied. But then we'd miss the part where you admit this didn't go the way you planned. Silence stretched, not empty but loaded. Her blade lowered a fraction, then another. Humor crept into his voice again, softer now. Besides, if I die, who's going to explain to you why this station has opinions? She almost laughed. Almost, and in that near laughter something final broke. The blade dimmed. The outpost hummed contentedly. Control had not been seized. It had been handed over while she was busy holding it wrong. She did not drop the blade. She rested it against the floor instead, tip touching metal with a sound that felt louder than it should have. That choice mattered more than either of them admitted. The outpost seemed to approve, smoothing the gravity field until standing felt effortless again, like a host relieved its guests had stopped threatening each other. He exhaled slowly. Progress, he said. Nobody's bleeding. That's usually my benchmark for a good afternoon. You speak too much, she said, but there was no heat in it now. Fatigue crept in where certainty had lived. Humans hide behind noise. We call it morale, he replied. Keeps the panic from filing formal complaints. She studied him openly at last. Unarmed, unafraid, annoyingly intact. The station systems continued to favor him, yet he made no move to exploit it. That unsettled her more than force would have. End this, she said. Leave. He tilted his head. Can't yet, station's mid-realignment. If I walk away now, it'll lock you out of half your own ship. It's petty like that. Her ears angled sharply. You designed it this way. I encouraged it, he corrected. Big difference. Silence returned, thinner now. The blade dimmed further, its edge retreating fully into normal space, obedient but no longer eager. She felt exposed without its certainty. You humiliated me, she said. He considered that. I surprised you. Humiliation implies intent. She almost smiled. Almost. You humans redefine words when cornered. Absolutely, he said. Otherwise we'd have gone extinct ages ago. A soft tone echoed as the outpost finalized its adjustments. Control nodes balanced. Access equalized. He felt it and nodded. There we go, shared custody. She looked at the systems, then back at him. You could have taken everything. Could have, he agreed. Didn't want to. Why? He shrugged, smaller this time. Because you didn't strike when you still could. That matters where I'm from. Her fingers loosened around the hilt. The blade powered down completely. This changes nothing, she said. He smiled just a little. It already did. The outpost settled into a calmer rhythm, the hum smoothing out as if it had finally decided everyone inside would behave. Systems dimmed to a neutral glow. Nothing pointed at anyone. He rubbed his wrists where the restraints had been, then deliberately stepped back, giving her space she no longer needed but clearly appreciated. Congratulations, he said. You just survived first contact with a human who knows where the maintenance override is. She regarded him for a long moment, blade inactive at her side. You dismantled my victory without striking, she said. That is not how warriors of my kind measure strength. He nodded. Yeah, we noticed. Took us a while to stop measuring it that way too. She deactivated the blade fully and secured it to her armor. The gesture felt ceremonial, final. You will repair the relay, she said. Then you will leave. Deal, he replied. Though technically I already fixed it, twice. It kept undoing my work out of spite. The outpost chimed, almost sheepish. A faint sound escaped her before she could stop it, sharp and brief. Laughter, unused but real. She stilled afterward, surprised by herself. You changed nothing, she said again, but the words no longer believed themselves. He looked around the chamber, then back at her. "You let me live. That's a pretty big software update." She considered that. Her people taught that control was taken or lost, never shared. Yet here she stood, alive, unbroken, facing someone who could have ended her story and chose not to. "You are dangerous," she said. He smiled, softer now. "So are you. Turns out that doesn't have to be a problem." When the relay pulsed back to full function, stars outside shifted, roots reopening, futures unblocking. He packed his tools, slung them over his shoulder. Before leaving, he paused. "For what it's worth," he added, "you adapted faster than most." She inclined her head,